Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just click the link in the show description to support now.
You're locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
Your host,
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
the Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
$156 episodes, 3 years going strong. Happy anniversary. Welcome to the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast. The Boston Bad Boy, you have finally made it.
I'm not putting any confetti out or anything.
Why not?
There's no cake.
There should be a party.
No.
Listen,
You don't have any friends to attend a party.
I don't know.
So
if
why
that's
would I
true.
throw a party?
I don't
for
know
you?
if that's true. I think I have. at
I
least a
certainly
few.
know that's true.
I don't know if that. Don't.
Even after 300 episodes, you have no idea that you don't have any friends, and it's a sad thing.
It's a 3-year anniversary.
300 episodes.
It's episode 156. You're going to confuse everybody. Don't do that. You're going to confuse everybody.
I think your math is off.
Oh, my goodness. Folks, we are in celebration mode today. I'm telling you, man, think about this. Do you know how many podcasts, how many wrestling promotions have come and gone in 3 years?
I would hope this one would go before that.
Well, clearly we're not going anywhere. We don't die, we multiply. Remember that? Bebe's Kids. Remember that? Remember that movie? It was awesome.
No, I don't remember that movie.
I was talking to Rudy Boy Gonzalez.
Oh,
Who-
how did that go?
One of our first guests and frequent guests through the years and what
Yes.
have you. He told me never call him again, which, I was
You know what,
pretty
Rudy? Don't do us any favors. How about that? How about that, Rudy?
He said congratulations and all that good stuff there, but he's big time.
What is
doesn't
he
have time
mad
for
about
us.
now?
Huh?
He is always mad about something. He's mad about politics. He's mad about the weather.
Yeah.
He's mad about kids these days. I mean, Rudy, come on. Enough already.
I think he's mad at you.
Bring it on.
There's been a
Bring it on.
You haven't reached out to Rudy in a long time.
Hey, my phone hasn't rung.
Well, here's the thing. He started his own podcast. Have you offered to be a guest on
Absolutely
his show?
not. You know why?
Why?
Because he goes on this podcast. He doesn't start his own podcast.
Oh, is that what
Who the hell
happens?
does he think he is?
Are you just mad? You're mad because he didn't ask you to produce his podcast. That's what it is, isn't it? Because he didn't ask you for any tips. He just did it.
He certainly didn't ask you for any tips.
Well,
because you wouldn't have any to give him.
That's debatable. I don't.
Can
know.
I just say something before we get going?
What?
My favorite headline this week. Pelosi says Trump's involved in a cover-up. And I've been saying that for years, and now finally it's on CNN. A big, bold headline.
Look at that.
Pelosi says Trump involved in a cover-up.
Is that why
I've
we're going to
hit
get
the
shut
big
down?
time.
We're going to get
I've
shut
hit the
down
big time.
because you're starting trouble with
Do you
WWE
realize-
Hall of Famer Donald Trump.
Do you realize I'm big time now and you're nothing?
Okay, I'm okay with that.
I don't think you are.
I'm here to shine my bright light on you, sir. That's what it is.
All right, so over
Okay?
the 300 episodes that we've done together,
It's 3 years.
we've talked about a lot of stuff above and beyond wrestling.
Yes.
And I want to start this show a little taste of that, just so you know. This is something we would do. We don't have to get deep into this.
Okay.
But follow me on this one. I'm just going to say this to you, and I just want your reaction.
Okay.
Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill.
Put her on. What's the problem?
I agree.
Put her on.
What the hell is going on
Who
with
cares?
this? Why are they picking this fight?
Who cares? Why? Put the woman on the damn $20 bill. Is she not a historic figure?
Well, here's the thing. Andrew Jackson is on the $20 bill.
Okay.
Andrew Jackson, relentless murderer.
Yeah.
Genocidal president of the United States. We need to be able to say that.
Absolutely.
Killed the Indians, typhoid blankets, Native Americans, I'm sorry. And also a slave owner, as many were. We don't even need to go there
He was
because of the
raging
because of the other
Sure.
atrocities. We
Sure.
we can look past the societal norms of the time. They say, okay, we're going to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill, but we're going to put Andrew Jackson on the back because this country has no balls. No balls.
It's true.
They should put Harriet Tubman on the front, and they should put Crispus Attucks on the back.
Why not?
Why not?
The first patriot. Why not?
Why not?
You know why.
What do we?
not.
Well, I know why.
You
not.
know why not.
You know why not. But
Yeah.
what I'm asking now, why is the president of the United States of America
Allegedly.
why is he picking a fight with this?
Because he wants you to know that no matter what, he does not care about anyone but himself.
Yeah, but that seems going above and beyond saying I don't care. That's more because it was already planned. It was already in the works.
Sure.
Why are we stopping it now?
Because, damn it, we can't put a black woman on currency.
Is it that, which I think there's a 100% chance that that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
I also think there's a 100% chance that let's find the most controversial non-issue to crowd the news out of the fact that Deutsche Bank is releasing my records. My kid is probably going to get indicted. They're coming after my tax returns, and there's no way I'm going to be able to get out of that. And everything I send to the courts is getting kicked back, even by the people I put there. Now, if it was anything other than a civil rights icon, I might say, ha, 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 okay, whatever, it's insane. This is doing damage. Significant damage.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A black woman. Let's just hit every nerve ending, and let's just shit on it like we've been doing for 100 and 200 years.
Seems to be a par for the course for the administration.
It just seems so obviously insane.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing trying to hide it at all.
Here's the part that kills me. What if you did the opposite and championed it and made it a big deal and tried to take credit and did all that?
That's a heel turn. We've been waiting for him to take the heel turn or the face turn,
He
I guess.
He refuses to do it. He refuses to do it.
I mean, that's to me,
know?
if I'm the reality show alleged president, right? You have to keep the show going, right?
Yeah.
What's up next season? Next season, he's the good guy.
Absolutely. Look at what Reagan did. Right?
There you go.
Look at what Reagan did. He walked in taking credit for somebody else's work. Right?
A peanut farmer.
Took credit for his work.
No bullets fired during the Carter administration.
Reagan stepped in, took credit.
Beautiful.
It was smart.
Trump comes in, does the same thing.
Yeah.
Goes too far, though.
Goes too far.
Has to go too far. Yeah. And here's the one thing. I'll just go back to the headline, my favorite headline this week. Tell me, you've worked in many different aspects of the world. Would Nancy Pelosi be publicly quoted in saying Trump is involved in a cover-up if she didn't have the guts to back the evidence to back it up?
She's daring him to say, prove it.
Right.
Right?
Right?
She's daring him to say,
because she doesn't want to come out there and she would, in her political career, she can't come out and say something that's just slanderous.
Yep.
She can't.
She wants to look like she's reluctant. The reluctant
You've pushed me to say
pushed
it.
me too far. I have to do this.
And I have to say it.
I have to save the country. Yes. Sure.
I think she's trying to give him enough rope to let him hang himself. That's why she's saying, go slow on the impeachment, because it's just going to get to the point where it's terminal velocity, and they don't have to do much.
Is this the biggest pro wrestling storyline going?
Absolutely.
It's got to be.
If it comes out that this has all been scripted, I'd believe it. I'd believe it.
Because it's too insane to think.
Well, it's like we're
this is real
living
life.
it's like one of those television shows where at the end it's all a dream.
Sure.
We're all living inside of Vince McMahon's fever dream.
Yeah.
Like
could
we're
be.
living inside an AI that was constructed by the WWE, where they randomly selected someone from the roster. It would happen to be Trump. Sure, let's go. And then
Here we are. So who's next? Would you elect a pro wrestler president of the United States?
Well, we have.
But would you do it again?
Again, I don't see why. I mean, there have been pro wrestlers that have been successful politicians.
Sure.
Whether you agree with them or not, they've had success.
Sure.
I don't think that has anything to do with anything, really. Like their career pre.
People who are connected to Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that's the thing that scares me more
Is
than
he
anything.
really the puppet master here?
Well,
is Vince McMahon the true leader of the world?
I know you'd like to think that. I don't think it's that much of a
They're
conspiracy.
in Saudi Arabia this weekend, you know. Actually, Friday.
Funny how that
That's when the
happens,
event
isn't
is happening.
I think that, it's an amazing coincidence.
Vince is part of it all. And you know he's riding 4 straight years of record profits. And the next 5 years are going to be the same.
I don't know. It's just crazy enough to be true. Like, would go down. Like, if he was one of Trump's advisors, I'd believe it. You know, I'd be like,
Who
oh,
says he's not?
Well, like in an official capacity,
Sure,
I would
sure.
believe it and say, okay, well, maybe there's.
Well, his wife was in the administration.
Because, you know, Trump's a guy that wants ratings.
Yep.
So who's he going to call? Some guy whose job is to try and get them, and who has been doing it for years to try and come up with clever and insane ways to change the storyline.
And
It's all about
worked.
misdirection.
And it's worked.
Like if he says, like I could see this Harriet Tubman thing coming from the brains at WWE.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, Vince, it's Donald. Listen, things are going badly for me. I think I need something. Well, Well, Mr. President,
I got it.
You take the Harriet Tubman thing, which no one really, it's just on track,
Yeah.
and you just come out against it for no reason.
I thought it was already done.
I thought it was a done deal.
I
Why
thought
would
they
they
were already
stop
printing
it?
it.
Why would they stop it?
Unbelievable.
It's so insane, and in the end of the day, it doesn't bother anybody.
Boom.
Because in Vince's mind, it doesn't mean anything. But
Sure.
because at the end of the day, who gives a fuck who's on the bill?
Yeah. Most people don't know who's on the $20
No.
bill.
And at the end of the day, it's not that important, but it is important if when you put it into the context of history.
Absolutely.
So that's why this is dangerous and
Yeah.
murky and gross.
Yeah, agreed. It's pro wrestling.
Yeah, and I just think that, here we are at 300 episodes. And how many more episodes will it take before the
3
Trump
years.
nightmare is over?
It's 3 years. Episode 156. Get on track here. All right?
Wait, have we been doing this show entirely within the Trump presidency?
Yeah.
Maybe when Trump goes away, this show goes away.
No, that's not true.
It's something to look
We
forward to.
started under Obama. Don't try your nonsense.
Don't blame Obama.
What? I'm blaming Obama. Listen, AEW,
Okay.
they signed with TNT.
All right.
It's a done deal.
Okay.
They're coming.
All right.
So this guy, who used to be with the WWE, right? Neville, the one who said, I'm not showing up to work anymore. I don't want to work here anymore.
Sure.
And sat out, and then they finally just
That's what I'm going to do, by the way, to you.
You've been doing that. And
Yeah,
it's been very
working.
rude. It's been very rude.
When I just signed a podcasting agreement with TNT.
Get the heck out of here. So Neville signs a deal with AEW, right? He's been advertised. He's on the side of the MGM Grand in Las Vegas because he's going to be in a match. Then he says, well, I'm the champion of this other promotion in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want their champion to lose. So I can't lose. Can you imagine this guy's going to tell the company, I can't lose?
Well, I mean, it's all part of the business, isn't it?
No. You're not bigger than the business. There are some people out there who pull this crap. And you know who you are, by the way. You don't tell the promoter you're not going to lose. You do what they tell you to do because you're getting paid.
You mean to tell me that a guy like The Undertaker wasn't telling them what he wants to do after all his years in the business and all the level of his popularity?
Let me tell you something. Neville, or he calls himself Pac now. Pac is a lot of things. He ain't The Undertaker, baby.
Pac, like a Pac on your house?
Like Tupac. It's Pac. He ain't The Undertaker.
You know, maybe they get a
right now.
hologram to wrestle, and the hologram won't lose, like the Tupac hologram.
That could be it.
And he doesn't lose, but the hologram can lose. How come we've not done a hologram a wrestler whose gimmick is that he's a hologram,
It's happened.
but no one else believes
Not to
him?
that. Not
But
to
like
that
no one
degree.
else believes him.
Sure. I just don't understand who somebody you're going to tell people you're not going to lose. Who are you? Who are you?
I tell you every week I'm not going to do this show,
Yeah.
and you keep roping me back
Here
in
you are. You know, it's the 20-year anniversary.
of this show.
No, of the passing of Owen Hart.
Ah,
He was hooked up to a harness.
this is such a ridiculous. Even to this day, it's such a ridiculous.
Yeah. Something happened. He dropped in the
It's-
ring. Done.
You know what it is. It's like the last hangover of the old circus act. Like they were still flying by the seat of their pants with safety and all that stuff. Could you imagine that happening today?
Oh my God. Please.
It'd probably put them out of business.
Yeah. That would not be pretty. They're public now. So that's a whole other story.
Right.
Oof.
I was actually watching. There's a new documentary about the history of the circus in America, and I haven't gotten all the way through it, but it's WWE top to bottom.
Sure.
And P.T. Barnum and the three-ring circus and the development of all that stuff, the big top and all this.
It doesn't exist anymore in this country.
No, well, they got rid of all the animals, but it does exist as wrestling. I think it's evolved into professional wrestling.
Okay.
It's the closest thing you're going to get to the circus,
Okay.
and I think that they're still running it like a circus in many cases, and they're not running it as a proper business because Vince is he's lost it.
Take it easy. People are making more money today than they've ever made before.
Yeah.
And
But how close are we to another Owen Hart? Really, I think we're closer than people know.
I hope not.
Between the CTE that goes untreated and any hit could be, someone could die in the ring. We don't know the condition of these guys. We only know what's released.
Somebody just did actually. Silver King, but that happened in Mexico.
But still, there you go. You don't know the condition of this. How many? Is it 5 hits that gets him? Is it the 6th one that gets him? Is it the 20th? We don't know these things, and they're still rolling the dice on all that.
Yeah, it's sad. Silver King had a heart attack during a match, and the referee didn't do anything. I don't.
Well, what
think
do you want him to
do? They realized he stopped moving. His opponent rolls him over somehow, Juventud Guerrero, and pins him. Celebrates, leaves the ring, comes back in, celebrates again, leaves the ring again.
They think it's a whole bit,
and the referee's just standing there.
Well, they don't know it's not a work.
The man Dead.
Wow.
Completely. And they just,
But isn't that how they all want to go out
well, I should hope not.
in the ring? They
Well,
all want to go out in the ring,
I
don't
know
they?
a lot of people, yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
that's really, well, that's what they say at least.
Sure. But what's wrong with the ref that he doesn't realize that one of his guys is not responding?
Well, again, the ref is not really a ref. We know this.
No, but he's there to help.
Well, obviously,
James Beard had a problem
listen,
with that.
I got to say, I think that if it was an organization like WWE,
Yeah.
where it's all very planned out,
Oh, they
and
jump
we all
right
know,
on it.
they would
Yeah.
know right away.
Yeah, they jump right on it, of course.
But what if that happens in the middle of a live, televised live event?
You shut it down.
How does that work, though? But how does that work? That's not a business plan
You
for them.
flip to something that's pre-recorded, or you go to commercial. You figure it out.
Yeah, obviously,
The production
but it's a
people figure it out.
disaster, and it's, you know what? Social media, chink, 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 it's going right
People
out.
get hurt all the time. That's
No, I'm
nothing new.
talking dead.
Yeah.
Dead is not. Dead
Oh,
is
it
a whole
happened.
other level.
Owen
I know.
Hart, it happened.
But again, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Imagine that now.
Mm.
That picture is everywhere. They cannot get away from it.
Mm.
They can't change the narrative.
It's all about how you handle it. Did you do the
Yeah,
right
all
thing?
Exactly right. But
Did you do
even
the right thing?
still, they could have a medvac land on the middle of the ring in 3 seconds.
Mm.
Doesn't matter.
Mm.
Because when it comes down to the guy took one too many hits, when the guy's harness wasn't clipped the right way, when someone forgot to do what they're supposed to do, bad news.
It's bad news. It's bad news.
Everybody wants someone. Everyone wants to see the spectacle of someone dying in the ring.
Mm.
People don't want to live with that fact.
Hell no. Please.
They don't want to say they have said it. After they've seen it, they don't want to say
Don't
they've
do
seen it.
that. Please. Yeah, let's move off of that. They just came out with a new title, which is an offshoot of an old title.
Okay.
They're 24/7 champions.
Is it the really ugly belt?
Oh, no. Are you going to do this?
Well, I just saw.
It's a beautiful belt. Stop
I
that.
saw an ugly belt referenced from the past, and now an uglier belt referenced.
Don't
currently.
do that.
It kind of looked like Legos.
You say you don't watch, but then here you are.
Listen, I know.
Right?
Listen, I don't have to watch to know everything.
Oh, okay.
I know everything.
Okay. Well, here's the concept. The belt can be defended 24 hours a day, anywhere, as long as there's a ref around. So, like, if somebody was doing an interview right now,
Yeah.
if you had a referee, you could pin them, and you'd be the champion.
I like that idea.
brilliant.
How do we get the belt in your hands so I can kick your ass and take that belt from
Who
you?
says you could? What are you talking about?
Listen, I know someone who could act as a ref.
Oh,
You
yeah?
better watch out.
I'll
It could
bring-
happen anytime. Your lunch break, when you're on the tee, it can happen.
I'll bring Bob Backlund back in here to fix you.
How do
Just
you
so
know? Maybe he's on my payroll.
No.
Maybe he's my ref I brought in.
He's the ref. He's the one who's going to do it, right? And give you the belt.
That's right.
Gee, so WWE's going back to Saudi Arabia. They're going to be
Ugh,
there
don't
this
even
Friday.
get out of here with this bullshit.
Here's their advertisement. Just as good, if not better, than WrestleMania.
Now with 80% less women.
Yeah.
That's what it should say.
Yeah.
Now with 90% less promotion of rights.
Stop it.
Now with 100% less freedom.
Stop it. You have to stop giving them a hard time.
You know,
over
I got to
this deal.
say, is this how you make America great, Vince McMahon? If you're behind this whole ploy, if you're buddies with Trump,
Stop it.
putting women second-class citizens,
He's going to pay them.
get the hell out of here.
He's going to pay them.
Money doesn't matter.
It should.
You know, when they built the Transcontinental Railroad, which just had a recent anniversary,
Mhm.
an achievement, an American achievement, built on essentially slave labor.
True.
The Asians
Mhm.
brought to this country as indentured servants. They were technically paid.
Mm.
That was no kind of life. It's essentially what you're saying to these women. Well, you're paid, even though we're treating you like garbage. You get paid. It's not about the money.
Stop it.
It's not about the money.
We're
it's
not
about
going to
legacy.
disrespect Vince McMahon on our 3-year anniversary show.
Vince McMahon is once again putting people in untenable positions, and they have nothing they can say about it, really, unless they want to lose their job.
Listen, I had to work
It's a
hard.
manipulation right out in the open, which is amazing, which is Trump. It's a manipulation right out in the open.
Stop it. I had to work hard to get back on Vince's good side after all the bad will that you've
Vince
caused.
doesn't know you,
Okay?
so why don't you
He's
stop
a very
wasting
good
your
friend of
time?
mine. All right, so just take it easy is what I'm saying. So listen, we've been on the air for 3 years.
300 episodes.
156. And we've had some great guests, right? Think about all the guests we've had.
We've had some pretty awful guests, too.
Okay. I'm not going to name any of those. Well, honestly, what was your favorite interview?
Wow. My favorite interview?
Out of all the ones we've had, and we've had amazing. We've had Manny Fernandez, who talked about blowing people up and telling Vince McMahon to go after
That's
himself.
true. That was a good one.
We had Susan Tex Green, who talked about getting stabbed.
Tex is great because that is such a story of wrestling.
Yep, she was the first openly gay female wrestler, and
Yeah,
youngest
it ticks
that.
so many boxes.
That was a long interview.
And
we
that was
did,
a long
by the way.
interview.
That was
And,
a very long interview we did.
Bob Backlund.
Bob Backlund.
I have to say it's my favorite interview because I was put into a move by a professional
chicken
wrestler.
wing. Yeah, the chicken wing.
Like I experienced it in a way that you never have.
No.
And in a way that
I'm not going to piss Bob Backlund off to the point where he's got to hem me up like
and,
that.
no, I think that was probably my favorite because I survived
Bob Backlund.
Yeah, because we had him in studio. It's not often we get someone in studio.
Sure.
Into the secret location.
Sure.
And no, I thought that was good. Tex was great. Trying to think. The Valhalla Club guys were good.
Oh my God! Did you see the Klepper show?
I saw some clips of it. Yeah.
Oh my God!
I gotta go back and watch the whole thing.
You know, we've been with those guys every step of the way.
Yeah.
And it is just tremendous to see the world embrace them.
Right.
Including the Army. The Army's been using them
right.
to pump themselves up, which is really interesting because, you know, they had to go to pro wrestling.
Duke of Dorchester.
Help. That's my favorite. Pete Doherty's my favorite.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know, I always have enjoyed the begrudging appearance of Peter Vesey.
He's coming back.
Because he's
coming back for the NBA Finals.
He hates you so much.
He's coming back for the NBA Finals, and he's going to tell me about how much he hates me.
He hates you so much.
Yes, Peter Vesey, the NBA Hall of Famer. Yes.
And that's why I like when he comes on this show, because I get to sit back and just – there's only really one man that's ever on the show that hates you more than I do, and it's him. And that's why I love it.
He's probably going to be on, if not next week, the week after, to talk about the NBA Finals. That's what we've been holding out for. But, yeah, Vesey.
Does anyone really care about the NBA Finals?
Everyone does. It's awesome.
We're in a hockey mode here in Boston.
Yeah, speak for yourself. You know, my mom's a big hockey fan.
She should be.
She loves
She's
Patrice
a smart woman.
Bergeron. I got her an autographed puck before. Bergeron.
Really? What have you gotten for me?
What are you
Nothing.
talking about?
Nothing. You've done nothing for me.
I've done everything for you. I've made you a star. You're a star. So your favorite is everybody, basically.
Well, no, I say Backlund's great because we got a good pictures. It was fun.
Sure.
Rudy definitely at the bottom of the list. Anytime he's been
you hear
on.
that, Rudy?
He's at the bottom of the list.
Wow.
Who am I thinking of? Was it Tommy Wildfire?
Oh, Wildfire Rich.
Wildfire Rich.
He was another crazy one.
Couldn't understand a word he was saying.
Yeah, he's great.
And who's the other guy that was always
Steve Do It To It Cox?
Steve Do It To It. Again, one of our early assignments.
We got to get Steve back just because he's crazy.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
Total crazy. We've had some good people on that have really shared a lot of human things, really,
Absolutely.
and had some really good conversations.
We've dealt, and you know, it's not a cliche. We've dealt with sexism, racism, PTSD, drug addiction, domestic violence, classism.
Big Vito.
Oh my God.
Talking about CTE, as we talked about before.
Yeah, and I know Vito, he'll be back on real soon too because he has a lot to talk about.
People with real passion.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me that these are larger than life people, and they're in the ring. They're screaming, running around, doing this, doing that. You know, Tex is a great example. Even at her age, she'd kill you or I in the ring.
Absolutely.
Because she knows what she's doing.
Sure.
But she was just a pleasure to talk to.
Endearing.
And just a normal, down-to-earth person who's been through some shit. And, you know, and has some great insight as a result. So, yeah, we've had some highlights. We've had some lowlights, Rudy. And but we've made it to 300 episodes, and I'm so happy about that. So
it's the
I hope we have
anniversary.
I hope we have somebody on the show worthy of my time today.
Oh, whatever. But I just want to say that one of the things that we get called out about the most, other than you being rude,
is the genius I bring. Okay. Are you bringing in a little a check? Do you have a check you're going to give me?
The intelligent way that we approach our interviews and the discussions that we have.
And I just want to say, you're welcome.
Oh, please. And also our ability to get people who may have done interviews elsewhere to open up in a manner and share things that they really aren't sharing anywhere else.
Yeah.
Which is not easy to do. I mean, you're a Howard Stern fan.
Sure.
You love Howard Stern.
Howard's a genius.
Right?
When it comes to interviews, I'd say, at least when it comes to interviews.
He gets people to talk about things that you don't hear them talk about.
Are you saying that
else.
I am like Howard Stern of podcasting? Oh, that is the nicest thing.
Give me a break.
Finally, you've
Give me a break.
You've acknowledged my greatness.
Well, to our listeners, we just, again, we thank you for being on this journey with us. It truly is a pleasure to do this show and share information with you each week. It's not always a pleasure to look at the Boston Bad Boy.
You should be so lucky to cast your gaze upon my visage.
Oh, give me a break. That's why I don't like to look at you when I do this. Anyway, but we're not going to stop. We got plenty more coming, and in fact...
Wait. I thought we were stopping.
We're not stopping. What are we stopping for? We're just getting started. Do you understand how many amazing guests there are are out there that we can
That
still.
you don't want to talk to you? Yes.
They all want to talk to me. Okay?
Nobody wants to talk to you. You know another of my favorite guests to have on.
Who?
Because they hate you.
Who?
Babam.
Oh, God.
We haven't had Babam on in a while.
I know. We should get
talk
Babam
about
back
your
on.
your horrible skills at gaming.
Well, and I still owe Babam another match because he's a cheater.
No,
So,
you lost that fair and square.
He's a cheater.
No, you lost that fair and square.
Which is why.
And it was excruciating, and I'm never doing that again. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Yeah, but I'm never doing it. You can't pay me enough.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's fine. The other guy did better than you. He carried you the whole time anyway.
Trust
shout
me,
out to
I know how
Viper.
that feels. I carry you the whole time during this
Give me
show.
a break. Give me a break. But we're not going to stop. We got plenty of great guests coming up, and some of our favorites, Lavelle Porter, some of our favorites.
Yeah, where's he been?
He's been around.
He's busy posting a lot of dad jokes on Facebook.
I know.
He's going to get his act together.
He's launched his own website, Black
Yeah,
Rabbit.
he thinks he's better than
and
us now.
all
I know.
the-
I know.
He
what
really
is.
does.
He
though.
does.
He really does.
Yeah.
Old Man Wade, all these. We've been the launching point for a lot of people.
Boy, no one actually successful, but a lot of people.
A lot of people. Well, no, they've gone on. The progressive liberal.
Yeah.
They become big stars after being on this show. I'm telling you.
Does he should do the heel turn and become a Trump guy now.
Can you imagine?
That would be the thing. That's where you got to
That's
go.
a natural way.
Or he goes like libertarian.
We should tell him
and just
that.
mess with everybody.
We should tell him.
Progressive liberal, if you're hearing this right now, I trademark that. You can't use it now.
Oh,
if you use that, I'll
that's how
sue
you-
you.
that's
I'm
how
gonna
you
sue
stick it to him.
I'm going to sue you.
There's a guy, before we get to our guest, because we got a great guest that we need to get on the line. Tony Batista. He's a kid out of Texas. He's in the military.
All right.
He's been mouthing off, talking about me
Good.
in a manner that's unacceptable.
No, I think I totally sanction that.
He did
Whatever
an
it is. I don't
interview-
even know what he said, but I sanction it.
He did an interview somewhere else. We didn't mention my name, but we knew he was talking about me. I just want to tell him, with a dippity-doo in his hair, a little pretty boy, I will find somebody to mess you up. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. I don't care who you think you are. Okay? There's a reason why I've been around for 3 years, pal.
You're a sick individual.
I know Al Snow. I know Big Vito.
You know what's funny? It's 300 episodes, not 3 years.
It's been 3 years. What's wrong with you?
Just saying.
Don't make me send some. I sent Rodney Mack down there. He didn't get the job done, but that's okay. I'll send somebody
You
else.
want to?
I'll send somebody else. I don't care he's been in the military. Don't play with me.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
I think you're losing it.
Okay?
I think you're
3
losing it.
years, I've assembled some power in this place.
Who do we have on the line? Can we move on, please?
All right, let's get our boy Reed on the line here.
Hello.
The Black Burt Sugar. We're talking about the man from Pugilism Company, the one, the only, Sean Reed. Reed, how you doing, brother?
Brother Duke, what is going on?
Same soup, just reheated. Listen, the Boston bad boy decided to show up to work today.
And also known as the White Muhammad Ali. Just thought I would have
White Muhammad Ali.
I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, especially when the Duke is around. He needs to be straightened out.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Excuse the background noise. I'm getting into my Jeep now, gentlemen.
Oh, a fellow Jeep driver.
Yeah,
a real man.
Look at that.
A real man, Duke.
Oh.
Not like you driving your Camry or whatever it is.
Listen, Reed, don't let him talk about me like that now.
Hey, it's y'all's anniversary. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
3
Thank
years.
you for bringing it
3
up.
years on the air.
Y'all are my favorite dysfunctional marriage.
Are we
That's
not
a
the
However
odd
we
couple?
want to word it. The oddest of odd couples. Yeah.
I like that.
Now, Reed, you've been on.
Ebony and Ivory living in imperfect harmony.
You know,
That's
we're
right.
going to sing that at the end of the show. I have all the
See, we
music
need
and the
to.
lyrics.
Oh, my God.
We
God.
need to.
Give me a break.
Hey, I'm real talk. One of my dearest friends, a 6'6", like 300-pound redneck cowboy dude, and me and him sang Ebony and Ivory one time at a drunken Christmas party for our job. And it was
Unbelievable.
beautiful.
That's amazing. And you know what? There's actually, at my office, there is a talent show they're doing in a couple of weeks, and maybe I'll bring the Duke in to do Ebony and Ivory. I'll
Maybe
dress
not.
like Paul McCartney. You can dress like Michael Jackson.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
For real, nothing lightens the room or the mood. brother, and then
That's
a white
right.
guy doing that. Why
That's
not?
right.
What's wrong with it?
The closest we got to that, Reed, is I took him out for some yak, and I even gave him a black and mild as well. So
and I never
wanna-
recovered. My life has never been the same.
That's a true story.
Oh, Lord.
You can only imagine how well he stood up after that.
My guys.
Damn right. So listen, we were just watching the replay of that knockout heard around the world So I had to talk to my man Reed and find out what the heck happened to your boy Brazil that the bronze bomber was able to clean his clock like that.
Just being honest, this fight was built more on the backstory than Brazil's chances. Brazil is a credible opponent. He was a 2012 Olympian, I believe. His only other loss coming into the fight, the Wilder fight, was to Anthony Joshua in like a seventh round stoppage. And with Fury, Wilder 2 falling apart, the next best move on not quite short notice, but shorter notice was Brazil. Him and Wilder had an altercation. It was back in Alabama. That's where Wilder's from. So Brazil was on a Wilder undercard. Apparently he was barking around town about Wilder. So Wilder and some of his guys showed up at the hotel. Brazil was at the hotel after the fight with his wife and kids, and some words were exchanged. So beef formed from there. And right then and there, these guys hate each other. Let's go ahead and put them in the ring since we can't get Fury Wilder too. Now I knew Wilder would stop him, but to say that I saw what I saw coming, I'd be lying. Like a first round knockout, one punch, like just that dramatic. I didn't see that coming for sure.
Now he was setting up that right hand pretty much the whole round there, though, right? I mean, there was a lot of left jab, and then he kind of showed it a few times, and it worked. But it wasn't until Brazil punched him in the back of the head, that illegal hit, that's when it just seems like Wilder just lost it on him.
Yeah, he kind of woke him up, and really that's all Wilder has is the jab, like you said, the jab, the right hand, and if the right hand doesn't do damage, and he follows with the left hook. He's a very basic fighter, and his technique is poor. You know, we've discussed this before in the past, just how boxing purists, they begrudgingly give him credit. But my thing is now, and I was one of those, but I'm like, look, at the end of the day, combat sports is about results. I don't care how you got to 41-0 with 40 KOs. You're 41-0 with 40 KOs. Let's not sweat the technique. Let's look at the result.
You know,
his result, you can't argue with the results. And apart from the draw with Fury, he's virtually flawless while looking very imperfect.
Well, I got to say the sound created when he knocked that guy out was unbelievable. I have the sound. Just take a quick listen to this for those who may have missed it.
Throw with him and
That sound is just unmistakably loud. You don't often hear it that far.
It sounds like a bat hitting a frozen bat hitting a piece of meat. Just boom, thud. I mean, right. Goodness.
And again, like you said, it doesn't matter about his technique. Just he got the job done.
When he connects, like even in slow motion, just the way you see Brazil's head go from his left shoulder and his own chin hits his own right shoulder. That's how much force was behind Wilder's right hand as it collided with Brazil's face. Like it was awe-inspiring. I don't even want to fist bump that dude. I don't even want to shake his hand.
Right, just in case.
I don't want to say cuff the brother, but I don't want your hands nowhere near me, dude. Like, no, let's just head nod from a safe distance.
And he kind of came in. He kind of came in over the top on that one. It sort of like you said. If you look at it real quick, it's not so precise necessarily, but it lands.
In this case, it helped him. Brazil is 6'7" and was a stationary target. Mm-hmm. Tyson Fury's 6'9", but Tyson Fury would have pulled back, ducked under. You know, he wouldn't have just been sitting there looking as the right hand was approaching his face.
In slow motion.
He's a higher caliber fighter, higher caliber fighter than Brazil.
Reed, what was the controversy about a week before the fight where Wilder did an interview and he said some things that really, I mean, literally, the boxing community had to come out with a statement over what Wilder said leading up to the fight?
It traces back to the beef that I told you about earlier. So with that, Wilder said, he kind of goes to a dark place in the build-ups to his fights, especially if he has any degree of backstory with the dude. In this particular case with Wilder, he was saying, hey, y'all know I may just catch a body this one. I've been telling y'all I've been wanting to catch a body before my career's over with. And he was saying Brazil better not have his kids at ringside, or else they see their father die. He went to a very dark, I would say unnecessary place, but with my matchmaking background and writing, I've learned that to get into that ring and fight someone, it's a very personal and unique experience. So just because I wouldn't say that in the build-up of a fight. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe Mr. Bad Boy wouldn't.
No, I said that in the build-up to this podcast. I tell Duke to tell his friends and family he may not survive it.
I hope I catch your body.
Yeah, exactly. And I say you might want to call your mother one last time because you might not survive this podcast.
Happy anniversary. This is why I love y'all.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable. What
I was going to say, like Mike Tyson has went to a dark place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He said he'll
Roberto
eat your
Duran
kids.
is going to a dark place. Like it's not a lot, but we've had fighters who will go to that dark place. I don't condone it, but the end of the day, it's about the result. And some of these guys, like Wilder's a goofy, jovial dude. I think he kind of needs to get into this asshole mode, for lack of a better term. He has to go to this dark place to fight the way he fights. I don't know. That's my rationale for it. But that's to answer your question, Duke. That was what the whole all the controversy was coming into the fight.
Well, it was interesting because he said, a man is going to. He said boxing is the only sport where you could kill a man and get away with it. Before the fight, he said that.
I won't even go to jail.
I won't even go to jail.
Wow.
But then afterwards,
but
he said, hey.
we want to say that, and we see deaths, or we see near deaths at least once, twice a year in boxing. And I know. Here's what I know: if Wilder did catch a body, he wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
And there were fighters who've killed men in the ring who all spoke up like, "Hey, I kind of know what he's trying to say. He just doesn't realize what it is to be on the other side of that." I hope he stops saying that before his fights because he'll regret it if he's talking like that before a fight and then actually kills that guy. He'll never be able to live with himself.
But ironically, in a way, that's why people watch boxing, because someone might die. There's not many things. There are not many things in our life like, and this. I'm not going to go too historical here, but back in the day, 100 years ago, there was a lot of death around. People were dying of all kinds of rudimentary, idiotic things. You know what I mean? Machinery accidents, and people died of the flu on a regular basis. And now, I mean, at least in America, we live in a pretty scrubbed society where it's like the Roman games. We live in a comfortable life. We want to see someone maybe die. So it only makes sense that the publicity pushes then to the next level. And the boxers themselves feel like, well, I got to take it to the next level and talk about how I might kill this guy. Which, again, the reality of that is a stark difference than talking about it.
Right. Like, me as an avid watcher, I know he doesn't mean it the way he's saying it. But to a casual viewer, maybe you just clicked on ESPN and that's your introduction to Deontay Wilder. Like, I totally get both sides of it. I totally do.
We had a guy, and you brought up his name, Tyson Fury, who fought Wilder, and Wilder completely knocked him out. And then when Fury's head hit the mat, it woke him up, and he was able to get up and survive that match. That's the only blemish on Wilder's record where that was a draw. Fury did an interview on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith and the folks there on First Take where he stated that the reason why he and Wilder haven't fought again is because that fight that Wilder just did on Showtime, it didn't have enough viewers. And if we're going to fight, let's make it a big money match. Let's do it on pay-per-view, do it right, what have you. What's going on here? I mean, in your opinion, I know Tyson Fury, I believe he just signed with – did he sign with ESPN? Does he have a deal exclusively with them?
I can cut straight to the chase, not taking any sides. I'm just giving you factual, easily verifiable information. So I believe the fight was May 18th, I believe, last Saturday. That same date when Wilder fought Brazil, contractually he had sent a deal to Tyson Fury for that date. For the first fight with Fury, I believe Wilder got Fury got like 53 or 43% of the purse, which means Wilder got the extra portion on the other end. So Wilder got the lion's share of the purse for the first fight. He sent Fury a contract 50-50 for a rematch on which would have been last Saturday. Fury sat on that contract for anywhere from 5 to 6 days. And then out of nowhere, it's announced he signed a 5-year, $120 whatever million deal with Bob Arum, who has the contract with ESPN. What I know about boxing business, after seeing the first Wilder-Fury fight, Bob Arum, he made a smart business move. He cut his competitor, which is Premier Boxing Champions, who put on Fury Wilder 1. He cock-blocked their rematch, their biggest heavyweight fight to make, and he signed Fury to a deal. That's what that was about. So Fury, he's kind of talking around the issue. He could have still not signed the ESPN contract. I'm not saying he was scared of Wilder. I mean, you just saw he was in the ring with the guy. And to me, he beat him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he didn't have to sign that contract necessarily, and he could have fought Wilder, which would have been last Saturday, had he wanted to.
So do you see that fight happening anytime soon? I mean, that's the fight that everybody needs to see.
They'll fight again. Bob Arum wants to get in on it. For Fury's sake, I mean, it wouldn't hurt him to have a couple more fights. I think he would want to fight Anthony Joshua first, though. Anthony Joshua's fighting June 1st. I think Fury would want to fight him first and then go after Wilder again. Wilder's got that. I mean, he's the least skilled dude. He's been boxing the least amount of time, but he's the heaviest hitter. He's that guy you just don't want to get hit by. He's the biggest threat in that way. He has the biggest one-punch chance of beating any of them. And even Fury, having gotten a draw with him, can attest to that.
Well stated. We're talking to Reed from Pugilism Company, the combat sports wrestling website. It's on YouTube as well. Really great stuff here. Reed, let's switch speeds for a second. UFC signed a deal with ESPN, and ESPN has put the UFC content on their ESPN Plus platform, which is a streaming platform. Is that hurting ESPN? Well, excuse me, I take that back. Is that hurting UFC? Because now they're in a situation where there's actually less UFC content on cable television, unlike the deal that they had with Fox Sports 1, where there was just an abundance of UFC content on FS1, and you could find that anytime, any place. Now you have a situation where you literally have to go to the streaming site just to get any UFC content.
Ironically, Duke, the same ESPN Plus app, Bob Arum, who I just mentioned, he runs the boxing side of that. So Fury's a part of that. Fury's next fight will be on that ESPN Plus app that you just mentioned.
Unbelievable.
I see ESPN, and I think they're owned by Disney, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
I see them just making a big-time power move on combat sports in general. Because I'm hearing there's another streaming service called DAZN. It's more of a European-based, but they launched boxing towards the end of last year, and they're already having difficulties. And there's a chance they may have to sell their American boxing arm of DAZN to ESPN. So it's looking like Disney's trying to just compile everything into one big, almost like a WWE, like when Vince just sucked up all the rival promotions. Hey, NWA, you come over here, WCW, AWA. He just sucked them all up. It almost seems like that's what ESPN, by way of Disney, is doing. I agree with you. There's fewer UFC fights available, but at the same time, the Fox network that they were on, they just didn't have the availability to show it. I mean, they had an overabundance of availability, is what I'm saying. They had to show something, so they, by virtue of that, UFC was benefiting and had all of their countdown shows and greatest KOs and greatest finishes. All those type of shows could be featured along with the countdown shows. It'll help them in the long run, but I agree with you. It has been kind of a slow start for them.
You know, I think, well, is it possible, I guess I should frame it as a question, that we have hit peak UFC? And that's a move by ESPN and company to realize, okay, you know, we maybe we're a little oversaturated. let's try and put a little velvet rope on this and try and bring it back to sort of the exclusive content that it once was?
Here's the problem: UFC, they overmatched their guys. Boxing's been criticized. Oh, there's too many belts. The best don't always fight the best. That's kind of what the UFC built themselves on.
Right.
And it worked. But once you have established stars, I'm sorry. For the sake of your business, you can't continue to match your top stars against the toughest possible person, fight after fight after fight after fight after fight.
Right.
You just can't do that. It's not sustainable. So let's say you have 4 fights in a calendar year. Okay, yeah, 2 of them need to be against badasses. 2 of them need to be 50-50 fights where we're not sure who's going to win this fight. The UFC, they got so caught up. Like, look at Ronda. So Ronda gets beat by Holly Holm. She takes some time off. Her first fight back is really against Amanda Nunes. Like, really?
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Like, really? They didn't protect her. They're letting Conor McGregor make his own decisions. He came back and beat Diaz in the rematch, but he never should have fought Diaz in the first place. That should never happen. You move up 11 pounds or move up 15 pounds on 11 days' notice and fight a Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist, and then you lost. That should have never happened. He should have never came back from not fought anybody in the octagon in 2 years, and then you're fighting Khabib, who's undefeated. Like, they got to save him from himself. He should have taken a tune-up fight to make him look good and then fight Khabib.
Well, I think this is echoing the WWE, which is bad talent management. They don't know how to do what you said, which is pace it correctly. They get a bunch of stars and they ring them almost literally to death in some cases, and it leads to this uneven, lumpy kind of performance and show for the audience.
Now, their approach did work. It worked, but didn't work with John Jones. John Jones was the one guy. Just feed him anybody. Whoever the best is you think you have, throw him in there with Jones. But Jones is a fuck-up, as he's proven. Like, you know. You throw him in there, well, he may not pass a drug test, or he may run into a pregnant lady's car and run away from the scene, you know, with a bowl in his hand. Yep. Like, he's just,
yeah,
you know.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Him, Duke. Happy anniversary. I had to.
Yeah, I knew you had to. I knew you had
to. But that's the thing, right? They take somebody who is so unstable, and they built an expectation around that. They build an expectation around a guy like Jones that, you know, okay, everybody wants to see this guy chew up and spit out opponents, but he's mental. You can't. It's not sustainable. And then you take other guys who just can't pull it off physically against younger talent or faster talent or talent that's been out there doing it when they've taken time off. It's all uneven. It's all for the short return. Like, let's throw this big thing together. It may be a disaster. It may be not. But that doesn't work for longevity. I think the WWE is seeing that with a very unimpressive roster that is just sort of depleting itself. And I think the physicality of UFC makes that more apparent because people do actually get hurt in the ring and have to take significant time off. Less apparent in the WWE. But I think it's bad talent management. It's short-term goals versus long-term development. And I think that's why we're getting this lumpy up and down. Sometimes the UFC is great, and there's all these great matches, and there's a great buzz around it. And then it kind of goes away because, well, you have guys getting knocked out in the ring who should have been good, and it just nothing makes sense anymore.
Here's my thing, Mr. Bad Boy. I always blame millennials. It's millennials' fault. We're packaging the product to fit their attention span.
Exactly right.
Well, that doesn't work across the board with everything.
Right.
In combat sports, people need to be built. You need to have a vested interest in this guy.
Right.
You need to have that. So let's get him a tough fight. Oh, he won that tough fight. Let's maybe match him with this guy here on free TV. Right. This guy will fight hard, but we think this other guy will knock him out eventually in a real entertaining fight. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right.
I don't see anything wrong with that. But there's no building. There's no, let's just next toughest guy, next toughest guy, next toughest guy. You don't care if their skills match or make for a good fight or
Right.
not. You're just throwing them in there based on ranking.
Well, millennials never
And
saw.
That's to pacify the millennials, I believe.
Millennials never saw Rocky, right? A movie that exemplifies the story over the fight itself. Rocky loses in the end, but we believe in the character so much, we're all in. We're all in for the spectacle, and it doesn't matter.
A millennial would fast forward
to the end
fight scene,
and wonder what happened.
10 minutes in, hey, when's the fight? Let me fast forward. They go to the fight and see, like, oh, God. They wouldn't watch any of the other ones.
That's right.
Until he lost the first fight.
And
they wouldn't. That's
right.
how a millennial would
That
watch
doesn't make any sense. Why would he lose? Well, that doesn't make any sense.
I wasted my time watching this. Duh.
The Kardashians are on. Sorry, I don't want to besmirch the Kardashians. It is Duke's favorite show. So,
Well, and I apologize to all the millennials who are part of our fan base. I do not sanction anything that Reed just said here. I have no problem with any of you.
Reed doesn't need your sanctioning.
No,
In my defense, Duke. I mean, I agree. I'm sorry, Duke listeners, but I have a 28-year-old daughter, a 20-year-old daughter, and a 15-year-old daughter.
Oh my
so I have
God!
have a little bit of experience.
What does that cell phone bill look like? Just rough numbers.
Yeah, you don't want to know. It looks like my the mileage on my car.
Yeah, right. It just keeps going up.
Reed, any big fights coming up that we should keep an eye on in the next month?
Nothing this weekend, but so the next big fight will be Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. That's July 20th. Earl Spence will be unifying the welterweight title against Sean Porter. That should be sometime in September. But what I really want to talk about is guy fought last weekend. His name is he's from Japan. His name is Naoya Inoue. 118-pound guy. It's Naoya, last name Inoue. I highly encourage anyone listening to YouTube this man and watch his last fight against Emmanuel Rodriguez. He is a destruction machine. His last 3 or 4 fights has been like KO3, KO1, KO1, and then his last fight against Rodriguez was a KO2. He's a smaller guy, like destroying these dudes. If you just want to see good boxing, good strong finishes, technique, all of that, and you don't care about the region, or if you're like, oh, I don't want to see these little guys fight. You want to watch a good boxer, I encourage you to check out Mr. Inoue. He's my favorite fighter to watch right now, bar none.
And he's Japanese. I mean, those are my peeps there. Shout out to all my Japanese folks out there. That's awesome.
You don't have any Japanese friends.
Well, I like to believe I do. So that's
As I say on my podcast, my Tomodachi, Naoya Inoue.
You know what I'm going to say to Duke after this podcast? Sayonara. That's what I'm going to say. I'm joining the Pugilism podcast as executive producer.
Give me a break.
Happy 300th show, Duke.
You give me a break. Give me a break. Listen, Reed, that brings up a good point, though. If anyone wants to check out some of the stuff you're doing over there with Pugilism, what's the best way that they can have a listen, have a read, or even reach out to you?
Best way is to do a search on YouTube for us, Pugilism Company. That's Pugilism Company on YouTube. Or on the internet, it's PUGILISMCO.com. We have articles. On the YouTube channel, we have special interest videos. I podcast under the alias Reed BBS, Blackbird Sugar. And, yeah, we present a hard, rough and tumble sport like boxing with a little bit of a lighthearted touch. We respect the game for what it is, but we don't take ourselves as seriously as some of these other podcasters do.
Like Duke does. I know what you're trying to say in a very veiled way. I get that.
Hey, Duke is a serious journalist. Like,
wow.
Like,
We've come along. Talk about fake news.
All that when I talk to Duke. Are you kidding me?
You hear that?
Reed, I want to say, Reed, before we let you go, I wouldn't prefer any other guest to come on for our 300th show. You always deliver the goods, have a good time, and we really appreciate you coming on the show today.
I love you guys. Have you heard of Tony, Duke?
Oh, of course. Of course.
He still has the poster.
Tony.
Of course.
So, okay, let me. Do you know what today is? It's your anniversary.
Wow.
That's all I got.
That's
brother.
beautiful. That brought a tear to my eye.
I've never serenaded men before in my life. God God damn it, y'all better appreciate that.
Yeah, we
shit.
do.
Like, for real.
And we're keeping that for posterity to play for your family later on.
That's right.
Many years from now.
At my funeral. Play that.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Hey, love you guys, man. Happy anniversary, fellas.
Thank you, sir.
You know, it amazes me how we can have such a great time.
Yeah. You're welcome.
And in front of our guest,
Mm-hmm.
Sean Reed, who's a legitimate, combat sports analyst and very good at his job, by the way.
Sure.
I mean, I searched far and wide to connect with this guy because of his reputation in the industry. But, this legitimately gets heard by the world. So when you continue to refer to this episode as a 300th episode, when it's our 3-year anniversary, which means it's episode 156, why are you embarrassing the entire brand by not getting it right?
It feels like 300 episodes.
But it's not.
You know what? It's whatever episode I say it is.
No.
Why are you putting me in a bad mood here? We had a nice conversation.
I just can't understand how you don't know what episode it is.
What do you mean you can't understand?
What's wrong with you?
I hate doing this show with you.
Oh, my God.
How about that? Does that clarify
Give
it?
me a break.
Listen, I'm in a good mood. 300th episode. We're just about done with it, and we can go, right?
No.
And 300, that's it. That's a good number.
It's not 300. It's 150.
Did Seinfeld have 300 episodes? I don't think so.
No.
Cheers?
So we're bigger than Seinfeld. Look at that.
I mean, The Simpsons have definitely had
Way
more than
they've
300
had way
episodes.
more than that. Yeah, they probably have like 1,000 episodes at this point. Yeah,
So I think that 300 is a good place for us to stop.
Is it?
Yeah. And so today is it.
We got like another couple years to go if we're going to hit
No,
300.
this is the 300th episode.
This is not the 300th episode.
I'll be the judge of that.
Boy,
Do you have anything else you want to talk about
learn how to
today?
count. Well, it's interesting, and like we said, folks. In fact, we have a couple of messages, and I'm not going to play every message. So we've done that the last couple of years.
So who do you have from your cavalcade of circus sideshows to show up on this show today?
Well, the young professor was gracious enough to send us something. I haven't heard it yet, but he was gracious enough to send us something. So let's hear what he has to say.
Greetings to Duke and the Boston Bad Boy. This is professional wrestling ring announcer Matt Grafer and my daughter,
Morgan.
And we just wanted to say congratulations to you guys on 3 years of the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast.
And thank you for helping me share my speech with Paige.
You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. And when I say you guys are awesome, I specifically mean Duke and not the Boston Bad Boy. Enjoy, you guys. Congratulations.
This guy trying to go for some cheap heat, his email signature says the young professor.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to say what that is, no one knows who you are,
he's
young
young
professor.
and he's
no one
professor.
knows.
We had him on the show.
No one knows who you
Don't
are,
do
young
that.
professor.
Don't do that.
No one knows who
Don't
you are.
Don't embarrass him in front of his daughter. He's
you know
a
what?
cute kid.
You know,
she did a nice
do you remember?
job.
Do you remember Gilligan's Island?
Yeah.
And the professor that could build a coconut radio. He's more of a professor than the young professor.
That's not true.
And he's a TV fake professor.
But he's not. He's a real professor.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, listen.
Don't try and get cheap heat on my podcast, professor.
That's ridiculous.
There's only one professor giving a lesson here today, and that's me.
That's ridiculous.
Boston
Did
Bad
you hear
Boy.
the kid Morgan? Why are you going to do this? That's
the kid's
her dad.
fine.
That's
her
dad.
father shouldn't be dragging her into this.
Well, he didn't drag her into it. She
He
wanted
did.
to do it.
No.
What if it was her idea?
It's a kid. You know what? You're supposed to teach kids when it's appropriate to talk and not talk.
You're unbelievable. The kid gives a
You don't
thank
come
you.
on my show and get cheap heat, professor.
No. All
right, so there's an education for you.
Don't do that. You need to understand.
I've forgotten more knowledge than the professor has ever
That's
learned
not
in his
right.
life.
That's not right. You don't embarrass
And
somebody
that's a fact,
in
Jack.
front of the kid. The kid wanted to
Kid's
make
not
a
here.
nice message.
Kid's not here.
The kid wanted to make a nice message. You're doing something with
Yeah,
her
get
dad.
outta here.
That's a family experience. And then here you come,
You know
the
what?
Grinch.
Go to Girl
You're gonna
Scouts
go
then.
all over
You want
it.
a family
She
experience?
doesn't have to be a Girl Scout.
Well.
What is wrong with you?
I'm saying don't come on my show and have cheap heat.
No, this is what I'm talking about. It's been 3 years of this kind of nonsense
Yeah,
from you.
300 episodes of this nonsense.
The kid wants to do something nice, and you got to go over here and talk trash about her dad and sit here and embarrass
He's talking trash about me. What planet are you on? Didn't you hear
her.
it?
He told the truth.
Get the hell out of here.
Unbelievable.
I'm done with you.
Unbelievable.
You know what? There's not going to be a 301st episode.
This is not the 300th episode.
No.
Jeez, you know what? Folks, thank you for joining us for the past 3 years, and we'll see if the Boston Bad Boy makes it out after this, especially after the way he just disrespected the poor little kid there.
I didn't disrespect the kid. I disrespected the professor. And if I ever see that professor, right, I'm going to take that little mortarboard hat the professor, I'm going to break it over his head.
Oh, my God. Take it away, Tony Schiavone.
Mr. Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.